Welcome to Moonlight Madness, and this is the reading for Fire Sign. I was inspired to do fire today because I saw a lot of colours of red today, and red is the chakra that's related to the end of the foot. It's to do with balancing that area. So if you're feeling ungrounded, you need to put hematite at the base of your left foot. It's that chakra. So red energy and yellow energy helps with power, assertion, confidence. It's a Leo energy. The red is passion for life. If you lack passion, or maybe you've got too much passion, then you may need to ground yourself with root vegetables like pumpkin, capsicum, colours that help ground if you're too airy-fairy like me in Aquarian. We live in our heads, we live outside of our aura. And in fact, amethyst helps to balance the Aquarian nature. But what we really need is something to ground ourselves with. So again, foods that help to ground you would be those food groups. The readings I'm doing today, I'm using the deck of Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine, both psychic mediums and both work with angelic realms. I'm about to undertake an angelic course. It's a university approved course online to help better situate myself in calling in my deities, angels, guides, meditative people. So I had a very big vision this morning at around 4 p.m, which is when I usually get my downloads. And it was to do with our monarch. Our current monarch is the Queen Elizabeth II. And she came through very strong. And I was sitting with her and I was serving her a cup of tea. Now, I don't know what she has as far as tea goes or what type of tea she likes, but she said she liked lemon or something with citrus flavour in her tea, and that I had to serve it in a floral pot, Royal Albert. Bertie would be relation to King Albert. So there's a reference to Albert, and the flowers was reference to her floral. She loves florals. She loves nature. She's Taurus. And so I got that download this morning, and that she didn't trust anyone in her inner circle. And in her inner circle would have been people that served her tea. So I had to serve her tea. She watched me disinfect the teapot, make sure it was clean before I served her tea. And the tea had to have lemon in it. Very specific. Citrus, lemon, or orange. Now, I don't know her from a bar of soap. I didn't Google anything. I waited till 3 hours later to Google at 11:41 a.m. The Queen takes her tea. She likes Earl Grey, which is bergamot. Now, how would I know that unless I actually lived with her, which I don't? So this was a channeled message. This was an astral projection, what I call remote viewing. People that do this usually work in the military or are spies. A lot of the reason why Hitler was so famous and almost won the war is because he worked with psychic mediums like myself. And the reason I'm a psychic medium is because I was awoken at the age of 13. And for some reason I shut it off, and then it came again when I had a near-death experience at the age of, in the year 2018 at my mother's house. And since then I can't shut it off. It's like an ongoing movie reel. But last night was such a strong vision, I had to write it down. So I wrote down something to do with timetables, rows and rows of timetables, rostering, changes in rostering, constant changes. So whatever she is monitoring, whether it's a person, place or thing, she needs to make sure the timetable marries up, but it keeps changing because people keep cancelling or not being able to fulfill a role. She has a fear of being poisoned, and that's why she's asked me to serve her the tea, only me. She kept trying to send me to, I don't know what this is called, a Victorian exchange to get some things she needed for the palace. Only I don't know what a Victorian exchange is and why I was told that information when I had no money to pay for her tea or her lemon or her milk. But it had to be sterilised before I served her tea. That was the channel message I had at 4:45 this morning. I was extremely tired, and I got to that place where I could remote view. And I only ever remote view when I'm extremely tired and can get into a deep, deep sleep to astral travel to get the messages that I need to receive. 6 of spring is to do with Wonderful news is on its way. Public recognition for coming through a really dark night of the soul. Some of you may have gone through some really hard times, and you've just come out the other end. And it's funny because the unicorn is on this card, and the unicorn back in the Middle Ages, when they used to think that certain mares were unicorns, but no one else could see the horn. Only gifted psychic mediums could see the horn. They would cut. Okay, it's a folklore. Cut the horn from the horse mare and use that to make sure that the king or queen would not be poisoned by putting the wine or spirit or whatever she was trying to ingest inside the horn in order to make sure she wasn't being poisoned. So it's interesting how I picked that up. It's to do with royalty and the establishment. And there was also an Order of the Rose. And apparently the Order of the Rose was a very small select group of people. And they also have a select group of people that are in Lambton where I was working. So it's interesting. It all goes back to the Knights of the Templar. So if you watch The Witches of, or A Discovery of Witches, it talks about a very small inner circle called a Knight of Templar that would especially the spies of the Queen in times of unrest to make sure that the monarchy continued and they were still relevant. They still operate. They're called the Knights of the Lazarus. And if you couldn't protect yourself because your family was against you, they would take you in and look after you. They still exist. Matthew de Clermont was the role of in the miniseries. He actually did exist. There was such a person. His name changed to Matthew Riordan, but there is listings of him in the heritage listings. If you would go back and look at the heritage listings, if you're an historian or interested in historical research in regards to the Queen and the monarchy and things like democracy. Now, there is a supporter of your cause at the moment who's a fire sign. This could be a Leo, Aries, Sagittarian energy that is there to support you. They're wise, they're theatrical, they could be musicals or in plays, they could be an actor or an actress, but they are an unexpected supporter of your cause. You may receive a windfall. These people are also always like banking on investing their money into property and to resources that will in time be their retirement fund. So they never ever work and not look long term. They make long term planning, investing for their future, for their family's future. They've got a retirement package already set up. Maybe they just earned a lot of money, but they're really good at generating money. In the past, you've got here the review of the past and present, an understanding of the judgment card. This is you reviewing your past life, your recent current events, and trying to assess and reflect on what went down and what didn't come about. You had a lot of lessons that you learned in your past due to the fact that you didn't really know what you were doing when you went into your area of work, whether it be acting, teaching, schooling, performing. Perhaps the wool was pulled over your eyes and you had to learn the lessons yourself. And you may have gone and done apprenticeships and long-term projects, but you had to think about it long-term for your family's needs as well. The World card is to do with someone who's from another country or currently living in another country. So you may be an actor that's a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarian, Aquarius, that lives in another country and is looking at you as a potential mate, but because they're long distance, it's trying to find the happy medium of how do we move this forward. You've also come through a big journey where you had to learn a lot of lessons. So perhaps the lessons you learned in the past have then propelled you on to learn the lessons in the future. It is the Capricorn energy, the energy of the devil. So some of you may have or struggle with addiction, whether it be with alcohol, substance abuse. It could be to do with binge watching Netflix, or having multiple partners. That's again another addiction, where you like to be married but also have an affair on the side, or have several other people you can have fun with. This is someone who is addicted to addictions, so they might project one addiction and replace it with another addiction. It's an addictive personality behaviour. The world is all about assets and money and what you own and what you have. The Magician is the card of the wild card. Again, the rock star gone wild. You could be a singer, a stage performer, an actor, an actress. someone who is in the limelight that knows how to attract energy in order to propel them forward for the next project. You need to take charge of your life and manifest what you need to be a success. Even if you just, I don't know, wear a shirt that you may have worn when you wore in a movie role, or when you were on stage the last time that gave you great applause, or lots of people wanted to watch you because of that shirt that you wore. If you put it on, you'll attract more of that energy, law of attraction, and you'll propel yourself forward again. You have that ability to attract what you need into your life. Everyone does. Now, because I find most people that are creative are quite ungrounded, I've got hematite. I've put it at the bottom of the deck. Hematite's a very male energy, so if you're quite feminine in how you come across, sometimes you need to balance that with masculine energy. So if you're very empathetic, very caring male, in order to balance that, hematite would then bring out your yin side. Therefore, you would need to do like weightlifting, running, active sports in order to access that male side of your energy to propel you forward and protect yourself and protect your energy and protect your family. That's what I'm getting. So you've come up in your own spread as the Empress. So you are quite the parent, the mother of the zodiac, even though you're a Leo, Sagittarian, Aries. It's saying that you've got quite good mothering skills. You're a really good parent, and you're very creative, and it leads to a life of luxury. You may wish to have another child, or you may have children. You possibly may have twins. I've got twin energy here with the two little peas in the pod. You may have Gemini rising, but you do like to have a couple of projects going, a couple of romances going, because you get bored very easily. So we need to keep you busy. You're a busy star sign. 6 of autumn is to do with giving back to society, possibly volunteering. Maybe you're trying to find ways to invest into people, causes or things or places where you can give your time and your energy and mentor people with your knowledge of what you've already accomplished and what you've done and how you got there. And people like to look to you for advice, and maybe perhaps people look up to you as inspiration if they would like to be where you are. So you've got a lot of followers if you're on social media. And so to give back to society would be through volunteering, through giving interviews, through supporting local schools and networks in your community. If you're in a remote village, like a little tiny place, a speck on the wall, a tiny community where you can add money or throw money at the children's hospital, etc., that would be your go-to. You're maybe celebrating a birthday, someone's birthday, very recently or in the future, and it talks about engagement, weddings, graduations or birth, or friends you cherish, where you're getting together with a group of women that are supporting your cause and encouraging you to talk about whatever's going wrong with your life or whatever you're struggling with. So perhaps you are needing to join more group work with women who are running those group works in order to succeed and further your expectations. You may be interested in a Princess of Autumn. She's represented by the Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus energy. She's very studious, very mischievous. She's cheerful. She loves to learn. She loves her career. She likes to do scholarships and promotions. She is methodical and has high attention to detail. This woman is very, very organised and likes to research a project before she agrees to it. The deck I'm using today is by Radleigh, Valentine and Doreen, which I'm going to do an online course with. And the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, artwork by Felina Fenwick, which is beautiful artwork. The Enchanted Map by Colette-Baron-Reid, and the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette-Baron-Reid. So I'm going to pull another card. This is the Enchanted deck by Colette-Baron-Reid. And so we've got a full moon approaching on tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow it's full moon. And there's blood on the moon, trouble afoot. So there's a red ring around the moon, which means there's issues that's going to come up. If you're in trouble with the law, expect it to be bad. Expect this to be a very big super moon. I walked out the front door a minute ago to go and pick something up from the shop, and there was 3 cop cars and an ambulance out the front. I went, full moon energy. Only happens on a full moon. So watch out for accidents, people stealing from you, you having an accident. Just be very aware of your area and drawing in energies that you don't necessarily want or need. Be very protective of your energy. If you have to, block them out. Go on a hiatus. Go into a lockdown. Don't share information. Be careful what you say over the phone. Make sure it's in person. Even if you have to text it rather than talk it, if you're in an area or place where you can't speak freely of what you do know and don't know, is a really good idea at this time. Mercury retrograde can upset the information, can upset the phone calls, the internet, emails, all of it. And that's just what I have. I've even said to my family, I'm not talking to you for 7 days because I feel the need to go within, to draw on my own strengths and not spread myself thin. You can only give so much to someone when you need to draw back. You need to draw back for your own mental health. That's really important. Compass. Yeah, you can gauge your room. You see what's on your compass. If your compass is saying withdraw, then withdraw. It also is going to lead you to a destination, place or person that you're meant to be with or see. And you'll be drawn to that area for your next job, your next vocational work, your next place to thrive is what I'm getting. And then flying. And this is talking about astral projection. So at the moment you may be very, 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 very switched on. And if that's the case, then astral projection will happen. If I try to explain it, it's like a movie reel. So it's like you're watching a movie for 2 hours, but you can't get out of that movie because you're in that bubble. And you're watching and you're observing and you're role playing. I've been known to sleepwalk when I'm astral traveling and moving things around in the house because it's so intense and so vivid. I have to act it out because I feel like I'm actually doing it. And sometimes I sleepwalk. It's a very rare thing. It only happens when I'm very stressed, and I've realised it is something that was due to my past as a child. I had a traumatic experience, and I found that when I was a child I used to sleepwalk because I was scared of something or someone that I lived with at the time. And so I used to sleepwalk. And that was my way to cope. So when you're dealing with trauma, which I'm going through the motions of, childhood trauma, you may revert back to being a child. I've recently discovered I'm now scared of heights again. That used to be back when I was 15. It's come back again. I thought I'd resolved it, but all of a sudden I'm scared of heights. It's a new thing. It's because I'm dealing with trauma from childhood that I've opened up that wound, and the child that was scarred is coming out because I have to release the stuff from childhood. But in order to do that, I have to also release the child. And the child that's coming out is still scared of the bridge that she has to walk across, or the stairwell that she's scared of the height and the perception of proprioception. So I've got proprioception problems at the moment, and I'm very scared of crossing the road, or aware of my spatial things out right now. So that's because I've got issues I'm dealing with from my childhood. So I'm reverting back to childhood stuff that I thought I dealt with, I now have to re-deal with. Again, trauma counselling will bring this up. And so when you go back, you have to go back to being a child almost to get to the root of the problem. And then if you get to the root of the problem, you can fix the problem that was back then, now, in the now, rather than in the past. And a lot of people go, they don't believe in spirit or astral travel. If you watch The Time Traveller's Wife and you see him jump forward in time and backward in time, that's what I do. And he does that because he's got epilepsy. So I'm guessing I have some sort of, or have always had some form of epilepsy, which is why I jump forward and backward in time. And it's possibly, it happens more when I'm asleep, when I'm at rest, than when I'm awake. 95% of the time it's when I'm asleep. It's only like a 10% day that I haven't eaten enough or slept enough or drank enough water that I maybe do have an epileptic seizure and I'm moving forward and backward in time all at the same time. It's not schizophrenia. I've not been diagnosed. It's definitely not that. It is just what I do when I'm stressed. I'm scrying. I'm almost premeditating the future because I'm scared of what's going to happen in the future. So then I go project myself forward motion. And then I get hints of where I'm going to live, where I'm going to work. So I kind of, my future self is helping my present self, which is really, really handy in this day and age. I know what to do next. Most people don't. I I get a preview. I get a prequel or a sequel. I get a trailer before I know, so I know what's going to happen to me and where I have to move to and what work I have to do and what work I have to do on myself and who I'm going to be with. So I already know. I'm usually 2 years out. I'm accurate to the 18 months to 2 years. That's how accurate I am to the letter. So that's what I'm getting right now. So what was I going to say? Oh, there's a really good thing that I had to learn when I was living in a shelter. It talks about putting boundaries, and I've never been good at them. If you have any forced or unwanted sexual act or behaviour without your informed consent, it is an act of power and control, and it can occur in a long-term relationship. It is not about intimacy. It is not a shared experience. It has nothing to do with love or affection. Social abuse is controlling who you see, who you speak to, and where you go. Spiritual abuse, I had this at work, is ridiculing you. I've had every work do this. Or not allowing you to practice your chosen religion or cultural beliefs. Because I need to talk about what I do, and people don't always accept it. And they just ostracize you and then marginalize you, and then you're feeling excluded and not included. Then you feel a need not to even associate or talk to the people you work with. They only have to Google me to see that I do this sort of work. But to exclude me and not include me is a form of abuse. It's ostracizing me from society. It's ostracizing me from doing my job, and it's marginalizing me, and I don't agree with it. It needs to stop. And apparently this is very common in retail, and at the moment there's a lot of bullying going on, which I had recently in a job that I was at. And so this needs to stop. We're taught at school bullying's not okay. So why is it allowed in a workplace? Why is that a culture that we're allowing in a workplace? That's what I have to ask. Next one I've got, and this is what I'm doing at the moment to my family, ghost lands where you're ghosting people. And sometimes you have to take a time out to reiterate what you're about, what you're doing, what you won't stand for, what you will stand for. Setting boundaries is really important so that you feel safe, comfortable, and not victimised or bullied again. Because not every family member is going to understand if you're a psychic or agree with what you do. And I don't care anymore. I don't care because I do what I do, and I really don't care about their approval, and I really don't want their approval. I don't even care if I have nothing to do with them. Movement. Travel. It's called self-preservation. Okay. This one. 17, ghost lands. Some of you may be seeing ghosts of people from the past, or you may have visions of people that you've met and touched something that was theirs and have visions for them. That happens to me all the time. That's normal. That's a normal day for me. Whenever you set sights too far ahead, you run the risk of losing your footing. For rarely do the present and future match up exactly on the enchanted map that is your life story. The future has no substance right now. It is a place that has no grounding as of yet. So I get a glimpse, I get a snapshot of future events if I choose to follow the path I'm on. It's like if you turn left or right, whatever path you choose is what will happen to you at that given time. I give a snapshot of what can happen in that given time based on what's happening in your life at that given time. It's not long term, it is short term, because things change. Everything's shifting. We live in a world that is constantly moving, evolving. You cannot predict the future 100%. You can do probably 80 to 95%. I'm probably 80 to 80%, 90% accurate. But you could quit a job, change schools, change partners, and that would change your future. It's like sliding doors. It's very much like that movie. You can't live in the future. You can't live in the past. The only place you can live is now. These steps are important. The same goes for nostalgia. You can look into the past and remember and be nostalgic and reminisce of the beautiful moments, or revisit the lessons you learned. Like I said you learned a lot of lessons in the past. However, you can't live there, and you can't go back and change what was. Yesterday's gone forever. Live fully in the present. The now is the most powerful place to put your attention. Magic reaches out in every direction. Then the heart and soul can see. 28 is movement. We've got the ostrich. was saying to my son today, I'm going to do my youngest son's move, which is stick my head in the sand for a week. I don't want to know. And let them deal with it. And let them watch the cards fall as they will. Because I'm sick and tired of cleaning up everyone's messes. You look after your own mess, I look after mine. I'm not here to look after your mess. You're in a time of positive forward motion. And I'm not the oracle you can consult every day on a daily basis. Oh, is this going to happen to such and such? I don't live there. And I don't want to be on call 24/7. I'm not a nurse 24/7. I'm not here to band-aid your issues or your problems. If you need to band-aid or fix your problems, go and talk to Lifeline. This is the time for positive momentum. As you come out of a period of restriction, you're in a stage of new adventure and discovery. I'm a human being, not a human doing. You may feel compelled to take a trip, change your hair, move home or business, where you can't, regardless, you can't remain where you are. You feel compelled to go forward. No matter what your inquiry, you will see your dreams take form and doors previously shut begin to open as if by magic. Movement is also a state of mind. The fog lifts. The indecision lifts. And now you can see the woods from the trees. And you know now the actions you need to take. This isn't the time for fear. Let it go and move forward. If you need to walk, walk. If you need to meditate, meditate. Find ways to unwind. I find if I don't walk or exercise, I don't sleep. If I'm very stressed, I need to walk or exercise. And then at the end of the day, I need to do my yoga, watch a movie, put the heater on, wind down slowly, read a book, and then go to bed. And that's the order of the day. The body needs movement. The mind needs stillness. And that's all I have for you, Fire.